I don't know about that too, because the thrill, it's the adrenaline. You're chasing the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I think
it's 100% why all of us love motorsports.
Right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't have like a death wish. I don't like want to die in a car or anything like that, but it's just so damn fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep. And you either get it or you don't. It's hard to explain to people. You just, know if you have it.
If you're the guy that's driving 65 at 2 in the morning on the freeway, get off the freeway. Right? That's the 120 hour.
To High Octane Hustle.
Wait, hold on. You're gonna have to say it again because that was all being weird.
Hey guys.
This is only an hour.
We'll just do this all day.
This is only an hour show. Let's get this done. Okay.
We don't got 20 takes on.
Hey guys, welcome to High Octane Hustle. I'm Vaseline Jane.
And I'm Design Muse. And today we have
Marcel Venable.
How exciting is that right there?
Oh my gosh, who is Marcel Venable?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm usually the guy behind the camera, so this is new to me. This is a little foreign, so please, everyone, bear with me.
The producer for Autorevolution, right here.
Our channel.
Right.
Our channel, yes.
That streams our podcast.
Yes.
Certainly.
Twice a month.
Right. We're on a
Hit like and subscribe.
That's it. Hit the bell. Hit the bell. No, so come on, tell me, guys. This is fun being on this side of the camera. So now,
I like that.
Ask me questions.
He's ready. Well, I mean, you're a man. You just said it. You're a man of many hats. So,
but I don't wear one.
What would you put on your business card? What would that say? I mean, I really don't feel like one thing would suffice. But take us down memory lane of what how many hats you have worn. Although you don't wear one.
Don't wear one. Well, first off, I'm a hustler, baby. So
yes.
That's why you're here. That's why we know you.
That's what's happening. That's what's it. No, I don't know. I've had a very interesting time in the motorsports world. So, I mean, I'd have to go back to...
Let's go back.
My family?
Yep. Let's do it.
I mean, I have an interesting relative. He was actually the first man to go a mile a minute.
Wow.
What?
60 miles an hour. Watch out. This is groundbreaking back in the teens.
Wow.
So my great uncle is Barney Oldfield.
Wow.
Who was the first man to go 60 miles an hour. He was actually Henry Ford's test pilot. So pretty much the most famous car that Henry Ford ever built was the 999 car, which started basically Henry Ford's second time around being a car builder, which was the successful one, right?
Yeah.
And Barney Oldfield, the first from like 1900 until 1920, he was the most famous man in the world.
Wow.
So a lot of people talk about baseball, and they talk about like Ty Cobb, or they talk about, Babe Ruth, and those guys were in the sports section. My uncle was on the front page, and
love it.
Everybody knew who he was. It was major. So it was fun growing up, though, because my grandmother would tell me a bunch of stories about it. Like she would actually go with him, what they used to call barnstorming, where they'd go from town to town.
When did he pass then?
Well, he passed in the 40s.
Okay.
But my grandmother was alive,
okay.
And she would go with them to these different cities and barnstorm and see, her great, famous uncle. But it's kind of cool because he was married twice to 2 women. I know it sounds. I'm sorry. He was married
at the same time.
No. Not that kind
women.
of show. Not that kind of show. No, he was married 3 times to 2 women. So he married his first wife. Divorced her, married my grandmother's aunt, Helda. Yes, Helda. That's a name. Helda. And then figured out, no, I like my other wife better, so ditched her and went back. But, that was fun. And my dad actually grew up with their daughter, and she was like the older girl, so he kind of would like, hey, can I get a ride to the beach? That kind of thing. Hey, what's Susie's name? That kind of thing. So that worked out to his, I guess that's where I get the hustle from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You just grew up around it, huh?
I just grew up around it. My dad was into cars. My dad used to restore 30s cars. So he was into Franklins, which are air-cooled,
that's rad.
Old cars that, as long as, seriously, I was walking, I was wet sanding. I'm not even kidding.
Motorsports is in your blood.
Yeah.
It's just,
So, and I grew up in a good area. I grew up in the South Bay, which is next to LAX Airport. And that was Mecca for automotive.
100%. I can't even think of a better place to start. It's Southern California, was it?
Yeah. I mean, my Little League team was sponsored by Edelbrock. I'm not even kidding.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
Like, it was kind of
rad.
cool, because Edelbrock was in El Segundo. So the local Little League place, they would, if you're on the major giants, you wore the Edelbrock thing. And to me, that was more about, I wanted to be on the major giants because they were sponsored by Edelbrock. I didn't want to be on the Cubs because the Cubs were lame. Right? I think the Cubs were like, I think it was like the restaurant or something like that, like, Wendy's Place or something. But
That's good priorities. Though.
Right.
I mean, it started young.
Yeah, started young.
So did it just always keep going towards that? Like you knew you were just going to be in automotive? Like what took you on that path?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, I seriously wanted to be a race car driver. Like that was like just...
What kind of racing?
Any. And at the time...
Go fast.
Yeah, just
That's
fast, And my dad was into those slower cars, as I used to call them. But my parents split up early. And thankful to my mother, she, of course, fell into a romance with a guy that was a car racer. So now here I am, like, the latchkey kid with, divorced parents, but mom's boyfriend is racing cars on the weekend. So Frank was awesome. Like, dude, let's go. So we did that, and that was a good time. And I learned a lot. And I just knew I was broken by then because there was no way I was going to do this.
Not getting back.
Right.
Yeah.
And he raced Datsuns. I actually...
That's cool.
And
what year or era are we talking?
This is like late 70s into early 80s.
Rad.
And, a lot of IMSA racing. Riverside International Raceway was our home track. And that, of course, was gone by 84, 85. So this was, again, it was pretty early for me. I mean, I was like the little kid playing with Hot Wheels in the dirt. But at the same time, too, you wanted to know, like, what's that guy? That's Johnny Morton. Johnny Morton won 2 championships. Oh, my God, that's Paul Newman. Like, he's won 3 championships. Oh, he's a movie actor. Like, I was
That's
more
cool.
that, like,
Yeah.
when I was a kid and, like, guys were looking up to baseball players, I was looking up to, like, Tom McEwen.
That's rad.
Like, to me, him and, like, Evel Knievel were, like, the 2 guys that could not do any wrong. And I'll have to also say...
Thank goodness they couldn't do too much wrong.
Well, no, getting to know Mongoose, I actually later on in life, I worked with Mongoose and getting to know him, like, no, you know that they do a lot of wrong. So kind of be careful for when you meet your idols, you know? But
The behind the scenes, I know.
yeah. So, that was fun. But I don't know. I always knew I was going to be in motorsports, though. And honestly, I got, because of course, motorsports is expensive, and growing up with a single mom, that kind
do
of
all
deal.
of you people know that? It really is.
Don't do this, kids.
Any of us that know this, we're like, how do we figure this out? Wow, that has a lot of zeros on the end.
Right. And so I got into boat racing. Because it was loud
Is
and
it
fast.
that because of the finances, or how did you get into boat racing?
A lot of it was finances, because
Yeah.
I met a guy that had money, and that helps, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because I don't think that I spent many years with my dad at Long Beach. We've talked about that,
Right.
Long Beach Marine Stadium. And, one pass, you can still blow up a pretty significant amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Big
Yeah.
time. Big time.
Instant.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough when I was still in high school, I met a guy that had dumb money, and it wasn't from drugs.
No.
He actually sold computer memory, which I know, like, now we laugh at that, going like, well,
We all want someone to finance us.
Right.
That's a dream for all of us.
Totally.
I'm glad you got your dream early.
No, and that was, but the problem was, like, I was 15 when I met him. He was like 21. So it's like just having an older brother with parents' money. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do today? I don't know. Let's go buy a $40,000 engine. Like, why
Yes,
not?
please.
So, that's where I was drawn to that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to race. So, am I going to race Volkswagens, or am I going to race, boats? Because I
And
could
they're
afford the Volkswagen.
fast.
Right. But boats seem a lot dangerous, right?
Yeah, and rich people need friends too.
Rich people need friends too. No, and
all
that's
I'm
a Jane.
saying.
100%. 100%. I have built a career around being a good friend. It's so true. Totally true. So I don't know. I got into boats, did that for a while. I mean,
When you say you got into boats, did you literally get in and be behind the wheel, or
During times, yes. 'Cause,
Okay.
obviously building the boat and, working on it all the time, there is times where you got to test it because your driver can only give you so much feedback back.
So were you like a crew chief, or were you
Yeah.
driver, or both, or
No,
everything?
I didn't drive in competition. I leave that one to the knuckleheads that go out there and run into each other. But no, I test the boat a lot.
But you still got to go fast.
Yeah. Well, no, you
Yeah,
have to
so
know
you
what
get
it's
the-
going to do.
Yeah.
So you have to
Hey.
understand what
So
the
is
boat's
that
doing.
what you like to figure out, like how to make them go fast, and is that what was like turning in your head?
Well, that's what's funny. It started out, I just wanted to drive anything.
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
just show me fast.
Yeah.
And exactly. Right?
Right.
Just,
Totally.
it's not going fast enough.
Yeah.
So then having to learn about it, but also too, watching like a guy that you just talked to 2 seconds ago that goes out and flips and dies. And
Yeah.
then you see his like family like picking up his stuff like they're going
Sure.
to leave to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it kind of makes you like just sit there and go like, oh, wow, this is a little dangerous.
Yeah.
But then you also like kind of figure, well, that's the reason why we do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to land on a soft thing, you're not going to have as much fun as if you think you're going to land on concrete, right? I mean, you got to be a little dangerous.
I like that. You're not going to have as much fun.
Not
Did
as
you hear
much
that?
fun.
Well, that's why everybody loves roller coasters. Because
Right.
they're
You
scared.
can go fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're looking for that adrenaline
You want the
rush.
thrill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what's better
We
than...
just want to be in charge.
I don't know about
of the
that, too,
thrill.
because the thrill, it's the adrenaline. You're chasing the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I think
it's
that-
100% why all of us love motorsports.
Right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
I don't...
sure.
I don't have like a death wish. I don't like
No.
want to die in a
No.
car or anything like that, but it's just so damn fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You know,
and
when-
you either get it or you don't.
yeah.
It's hard to explain to people. You just know. If you have it.
If you're the guy that's driving 65 at 2 in the morning on the freeway, get off the freeway. Right? That's the 120 hour. Right?
Yes.
Why
That's
would
when
you-
you're racing everyone.
Why?
We don't
Unless-
condone any
Oh, that's
of
right,
that.
that's right.
Any
That's
of that
yeah.
is
only in
not
Mexico.
condoned on
Unless
here.
you're going through Beaver County, Utah,
I like Beaver.
and it's the 80 mile an hour.
80 miles.
You know.
Okay. But no, I mean, seriously,
Might
like,
have
what-
some tickets, I mean,
why would you want to go slow,
we don't
though?
condone these things.
You know?
Speaking of tickets, have you ever had a ticket?
Ooh, wow. What ticket have I not had?
Oh, wow. Listen to that.
I've had quite a few.
Are these badges of honor right here?
I'm trying to think of like,
Yes.
okay.
And,
Yeah.
and I want to know the badge of honor that had the most bullet points.
You mean the,
Well,
like the,
not
the, the,
bullet
the 3
points,
tickets?
but-
You mean like the
The rolling over consecutive. How many charges did you get on that? And did
Wow.
you get out of it?
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Let's see.
even better.
I can talk about the time that this is more of a kind of a funny story, but I got out of this one. So
We like that.
back in the early 90s, there was down in Newport Beach, there's a place called Balboa Island, and that was like the
Grew
popular...
up there.
Grew up there.
Yes.
Popular cruise spot where everybody would cruise through there and hang out and have a good time. And the Newport Beach Police Department don't take kindly to people coming into their town like that.
Yeah.
So at the time, mini trucks were a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And lifted mini trucks for me, because I didn't like the lower mini trucks as much as I liked the lifted ones. So
Yeah.
a friend of mine had a 4Runner that he took over to Dave Winter, who at the time was Raceco Off-Road. He wasn't even FabTech yet.
FabTech, yeah.
And he wanted to leave Raceco and start FabTech. And my buddy John's like, hey, if you can build me this system, I'll help you get into your shop. Like, I'll front you the money.
Yeah.
And so Dave kind of like, well,
Again,
what's...
with these, the rich people need friends.
Well, no, yeah.
So we go back to that.
So John had this idea to put airbags on his lifted truck, not because of the ride, because he had 40 shocks, so it didn't matter, right?
That was the
That
thing
was the
back
thing,
in the day.
right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
The idea
How many
was
shots?
that the law in California was 29 inches tall from the bottom of the frame to ground was the limit that you could lift a truck. So we figured, well, if you could get 4 or 5 inches of travel out of an airbag, that means that you could put the thing at 31 or 32 inches and run a 40-inch tire on a 4Runner. Right? Fair enough. We've all done this, right? So sure enough, Dave builds this bitchin' elliptical freaking suspension system with a airbag in the middle of it, puts a compressor in it, and which at the time, you got to remember, this is like 91, 92. That was a big deal.
It was huge.
Right? That was like, wow.
All that stuff is coming. Yeah,
right,
totally.
Right. And it was slow.
Airbags were just getting started. Yeah.
And that was for a trailer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And airbags were slow at the time. You had small compressors, small tanks, all that stuff. Even some guys would use Schrader valves to pump them up.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the same time, Reebok came out with a shoe called the Pump.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I remember the tongue.
And you'd pump the tongue, right? And it would fill airbags around you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was like highly popular.
Do you remember this, boys and girls?
I was an aerobics instructor at that time. Yes, I
Wearing
had
Reebok
those shoes.
shoes.
Right?
I also had a Forerunner, the first body style. Never thought to put 40s on it. I don't know if Greg would have gone for that.
Maybe.
I'm tall enough. It'd be
dig it.
easy for me to get in.
This is true. So we're driving around, of course, with the top off, girls out the back, having a good time, music's up loud, right? And of course, we come into the signal, and the cop just looks at me, and he's just like, you. So, okay,
Right.
yes, sir, pull over. And as I pull over, my buddy Alan starts deflating the airbags, because we know we're going to get a ticket for being too high.
Yeah.
Good call.
And so he starts deflating the airbags, but they're not with mufflers, so you hear the loud hissing.
The
total
the air compressor and everything, right?
And
Yeah.
I'm going
it's releasing. Yeah,
2
yeah.
miles an hour past the cop, and as I'm doing it, the thing's going. So it went from being this much travel to tires totally stuffed. And the cop walks up and goes, "Okay, smartass, pump this thing back up." He goes, "I don't know what kind of shoes you guys got on or what Reebok's doing for you, but you guys got to put that thing back up in the air." And of course, I'm like, "What are you talking about, officer? Wasn't me. I'm just driving around."
Surprised you didn't go to jail.
Me as well. I had to talk my way out of it. So, sure enough, out of the car, and I'm like, "Look, man, we're just having a good time. Got some girls in the car. One of them's, she's going to college tomorrow." Totally bullshit. And the cop's just like, "Sure, tell it to the judge. Tell it to the judge." And he wrote me a ticket for pneumatically controlled suspension. No, I'm sorry. Back that up. Hydraulically controlled suspension. This is important because this is how I'm going to get out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
So of course I go to Newport Court, which anybody that's had a ticket in Orange County knows that Newport Court sucks. You're going to lose, right?
Got it.
So I show up and I'm reading the ticket and I'm like, I got it. And I, of course, preparing in the parking lot, don't do anything on the fly. Come on, right? Right. So I show up to the court and I'm like, "Your Honor, I would like to dismiss this ticket." And he goes, "Well, you haven't heard the officer's testimony." I said, "Well, I'd like to dismiss this ticket. It doesn't make sense." And he goes, "Well, we'll get to that in a second." I go, "No, Your Honor, it does not make sense."
Yeah.
What I was written up for was hydraulically controlled suspension. This vehicle is pneumatically controlled, just like the Lincoln you're probably driving right now.
I love it.
And the judge looks around and goes, "Well, I don't have a Lincoln, but my wife does, and I know exactly what you're talking about." He goes, "So you're right. The officer wrote you the wrong ticket." And the cop is, No, that thing went up and down." And he goes, "Well, how was it controlled?" He goes, "Well, I didn't ask him. It just hissed." And the judge is like, "What do you mean it hissed?" I said, "Well, it's pneumatically controlled."
Yeah.
And I let it out with air. And the judge goes, "Well, how's that thing ride? Because my wife's car rides bitchin'."
Only Marcel.
So now, of course, the cop's fuming
Let's
at
have
me.
a conversation
Right.
about cars right now.
And I'm like, "Your Honor, it's great. You should get on it. I mean, if you guys want to go downstairs and check it out." And I was totally bullshitting because it's not my car. It's John Yotto's car. I was driving someone else's car.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
Did he put a tail on you for the next year and a half or so?
Newport I had to stop driving around Newport. The cop was looking for me.
I love it because I feel like that story epitomizes you. Like the people you hang out with, the vehicles you work on, right at the edge of the leading edge of those types of things happening, because a lot of people didn't know what they were, right?
No.
Because like you said, that cop didn't know, he thought hydraulics and stuff like that. That was, you know.
Yeah, he's thinking lowrider, right?
See, exactly. He's thinking lowrider. I was like, "Hey, man, that's we're up in the air, not down in the ground."
Right,
so,
right.
Right, but
In
still.
mini trucks. I mean, that's kind of the era that we met into.
Yeah.
The 90s and the mini trucks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know all of that. Wow.
It's just one of that time. Now, look, you did a project for me,
I know.
right?
Kind of how we met through Frank Scattini.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like everyone kind of meets through him, but I don't know.
Well, that's also another episode. So, because we could talk about him
whole
for a
separate
long
one,
time.
huh?
Right. Yeah, we should probably just get him in here and
Yes.
just let him talk.
That's all he would do.
Yes. True. True.
I've heard stories about that.
Yes.
But yeah, so Linex. I mean, tell us more about that because that's the project that you and I started working on too.
Well, okay. After I was boat racing and figured out that you don't make any money racing, I had to go get a job. And I met a girl. I started doing side work for California Custom.
Oh yeah.
And
that was big back in the day.
Yeah.
The customizers, everyone knew
they're
that
shipping
for trucks.
vans
yeah.
they're shipping Astro vans
Yep,
of all
yep,
things to
that's
Japan.
right.
And me and my buddies were doing the interiors. Actually, Revo from Stitchcraft and my buddy Alan at Stitchcraft at the time, they hired me. They took me on pity and said, "Sure, build all these seats. Damn it, get to work."
Yeah.
So yeah, we were customizing seats and building these vans and sending them over there. And I met my wife there actually because she was the one that would give me my money. Like she was the check girl.
Oh.
So of course, it was always like Revo. Of course, would be like, drop off the van and don't leave without a check. Like that was important.
Yep.
Which to me, I'm like, no big deal. The redhead's in there. I'll go in there and check her out, right? So no joke. I finally got the courage up to ask her out, but now I got to paint this picture for you.
Okay.
This was around 4th of July time. Actually, about around now.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
How long ago was that now? Do you remember?
Oh, come on, we're not gonna. I don't date myself now. Come on, let's
least
just.
Putting you on the
20
spot.
years, right?
Like, nope.
So
At least 20 years.
I had just gotten back from Havasu where it was 4th of July weekend, and there was a big fight at the sandbar. So I had a black eye, and my
Wait,
forehead.
you didn't say you were part of the big fight.
I didn't say as part of it. I was involved, but I did not start nor
Okay.
participate.
Okay.
A bottle hit me in the eye, actually.
Was that cop from Newport there?
He might have been. So I have a black eye, and my forehead is completely sunburnt, where I look like the movie Alien Nation, where like my scalp's peeling off.
Ooh.
So I'm a catch. I'm totally a catch.
This is about time that you pull
like
out
this-
one of those hats.
I don't wear hats.
That you don't wear.
I don't wear
Would
hats.
have
I'm
been
very
a
rare.
great time.
Very rare. Yes, very rare. That would have been a good time. So I walk in, of course, and I ask her, hey, I'm here to pick up a check. Like, do you have it ready? And she's like, yeah, hold on a sec. I've got to go, change the toilet paper in the bathroom. And I'm like, toilet paper in the bathroom? So I'm talking to my buddy Pat Nickel, and I'm like, what the hell's going on around here? He goes, I don't know. We have somebody that does that. And I'm like, okay. So I see my wife walk in the bathroom, and then I see her walk back, and she's kind of like waving every time. And then it's like she was moving one roll at a time. So I got the hint. I figured out that she wanted to talk to me because you don't move one roll of toilet paper at a time. You pick up the whole box of toilet paper and move it in there, right?
Even with the black eye and the scaly,
That's what I'm saying.
the scaly forehead.
So I'm like,
She wears glasses, corrective lenses, I see.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, now's my chance. I'm like, why don't you come over to the shop, later tonight? And she's like, your shop? And I'm like, yeah, we'll be hanging out, having a good time. No, I know nothing about her. I know that she's the girl that gives me the check.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she is. I don't know if she has a boyfriend. I don't know if she's, she's batshit crazy. I have no clue, right?
She can maintain a
You
job,
knew she was
though.
cute.
I knew she was cute.
Yeah,
right?
she's cute, and there's that hot crazy factor.
Totally. And redhead. So you got to add
Yeah.
that because that also gets you another. Well, you know that.
I do know that.
So anyway, I
love it. I love it.
So yeah, she comes over and she came over solo with a 12-pack.
Nice.
So that was like marriage material already. I was like, wow.
Did you ask her that
Done.
night?
No, I was like, this girl's going places. Right?
With me.
With me. And she had a car. So which
Oh wait, you're going places with her.
with her. So, and if you guys know me, I don't usually have a car. So, but anyway,
Wait
yeah.
a second. What? How do you not normally have a car?
Let's just say I have a love-hate relationship with daily drivers.
Oh.
I have race cars up the ass.
You know
I have
what?
daily
That's
drivers
true.
just.
You do have a lot of car stories like
Thank
that.
you. See, it's not just me.
like he texts and he's like, "Oh, there was an accident in front of me.
yes.
I'm pulled over on the side of the road." I'm like, "What?"
See,
Yeah,
It's like on a
wait a
daily
second.
basis. You're right.
Aren't
There's
you
always
going
things happening.
back up north to go pick one of those daily
Why do you gotta
drivers
bring up
up?
bullshit? Why do you guys
That's
gotta
new
start
shit.
it?
That's this weekend.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been broke
I
down
haven't-
since March.
Okay, well, you're going back to pick it up
So
or
what did you
something,
drive
or
here?
get an engine or
I
something?
drove, yeah, for the second time. I drove my mother-in-law's Mazda Tribute,
Oh.
4-cylinder.
Okay.
We call it the putt-putt. Because when it goes, it just goes. It doesn't really like. I
I don't
almost.
even think I'm sorry. I don't even think I know what one of those are.
Neither do I.
Maybe somebody
I'm
could share
trying
a
to think
picture.
right now. I know.
They share.
I'm sure Jason's got us on that one. You'll be seeing a Mazda Tribute right now.
They share a body style with the Ford Edge.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
You had one.
Yeah,
you had
I
that
know.
little yellow
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
So think
Yeah.
of that little yellow one that
Yeah.
you probably had in a V6.
Yeah.
Now put it in a 4-cylinder and then go drive it around LA, because I know I could have died 3 or 4 times today. I've full on, and you know what? If you saw me on the freeway, my apologies. I full on.
What color is it?
It's white.
Oh.
And the way I look at this, you saw my blinker, bitch, because I put it on. I put the car to the ground. I put the accelerator to the ground, and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
And then I just move, and I just God take the wheel. I just yank it over, and I've had 3 people today honk at me, and I knew, I'm like, dude, I'm cutting you off, but it has no acceleration whatsoever. And
Okay, so back to Michelle having a car then.
Michelle always has a car.
Okay.
The wife's always got the good car.
But that's
Yeah.
good, and you're making sure she still has a car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now
that's good.
Now her work makes sure, but that's good. That's a good thing.
Nice.
So anyways, let's go back to that. So
Yep,
I got a girlfriend is what I'm trying to say to you guys, right?
How did that?
Wait,
How did
was it your first?
One that wanted to hang out.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So, no, I have that other. Anyways, so she hung out for the last 20 years, 26 years if I'm counting now. And she said, "Hey, you got to get a job, and you got to stop hanging out with your buddies. You got to stop boat racing. You really kind of need a job. I mean, you need to grow up." And yeah, I was 28. I needed to grow up, and it was
That's
kind of
where Linex came in. Full circle, yeah?
Well, no, she's the one that told me there's a job over at Linex. You should go apply.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I was like, well, what the hell is Linex? Which is also funny. So I went to interview there.
Yeah,
and
because it was big right then. Or did
No.
you help get it big?
Yeah.
Nice.
There was 5.
Right there.
There was 5.
Oh, I'll give you one too.
Sure.
Oh, don't hit me in the face.
I know. Boom. There was 5 Linex dealerships at the time. And when I started working there, actually, I sold one to a guy up the street, Paul Henderson.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
right up the street from our location.
Our undisclosed
undisclosed
location.
Right.
I guess you can figure it out. I mean, look up Linex Valley.
Okay, we'll just get rid of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Just kidding.
Yeah. If you can find this place, I'll give you a brownie point because it's hard for me to find this place. Okay. No, anyways. So yeah, I started there. There was 5 Linex dealers. There was 5 of us that worked there. None of us knew what we were doing. Seriously. It was all dumb luck. And we were all young kids. And I worked for a guy named Kevin Crack. And he was my direct boss. And he was the same age as I was. And we were into cars. And we kind of went to same cruising spots together. But Kevin was like what's the guy's name on the Fresh Prince?
Carlton?
Carlton. He was
so
the
good.
A
Carlton.
good dancer.
He was, but he always had that that kind
Are
of
you all
hip.
watching this?
Yeah. But he was. I mean, he was in the know though. He had some badass trucks at the time, and he introduced me to a lot of different people, and he had a pulse on what was going on. He looked like Skippy from Wally Cleaver. Like he just.
He's listening to this, right?
I doubt
I
it.
hope he's listening
I doubt
to
it. No, but I mean, Kevin did. Kevin, he laid the path down because he moved on to better stuff, and I'm like, well, hey, give me a shot, put me in, coach, and the company did, and we went crazy. I mean, I ended up by the time I left, we'd sold like 600 franchises worldwide.
Wow.
That's
I'd been
amazing.
around the world.
Yeah, no, Linex was huge back in the day,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's awesome.
And I look back thinking like, man, I was a 20-something-year-old kid doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, we went from the first year I worked there was in '98, and I think our gross sales were like $5.5 million. And when I left in 2004 to start my own Linex dealership,
Yeah.
we were a $48 million company.
Wow.
So it was like intense.
That's great growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Especially back then.
No, that was the. I
Yeah,
mean,
right?
everyone was just like, "How'd you guys do it?" And
Yeah.
we had a tight crew,
Yeah.
and we'd work.
You were hustlers.
No, I had a thing.
You weren't?
Well, no. I had a thing. We'd call it "Fuck Off Friday,"
Okay.
and you had to work hard for Monday through Thursday was no bullshit, no joking around.
yeah.
Everybody get your work done. This is what we got to do. And then Friday was like, hey, who's bringing a 12-pack to work?
Yeah.
And no one knew that. Please, Mrs. Burton, don't get mad. But we would just go out and have a good time and do whatever. It was just team building is the way I look at it. It was
Yeah,
totally
sure.
team building. It was,
Yep.
we're the crew. None of us were the
Yeah.
boss. None of us was this. It was just like, hey, guys, let's all go have a good time.
Yep.
So
Totally.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Wait, are we doing something? I'm lost. Oh, that's right. It's time to change.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay.
So, everyone, this is Marcel. He's one of our producers from Autorevolution. And yeah, so that's part of his story because we're just getting started.
We've just tipped the iceberg,
I
right?
know. But next, we'd like to introduce someone else that's behind the scenes. So,
Yes.
on to that. And I don't know, we'll get you in that seat more. I know you.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Oh, wait.
GTS Customs Corvette Specialists. Passion is the driving force behind every design, every build. Innovation taking the client's dream car places never thought possible. Not just seductive form, but flawless function, showcasing today's technology in yesterday's classic curves in luxury and in performance. Head over to highoctanehustle.com, shop the brands page, and check out GTS Customs Corvette Specialists.
Baja Forge. It isn't just the products and it's not just a brand. It's a way of life. At an early age, traveling to Baja was one of my fondest memories. It was about venturing to unknown destinations. It was the freedom of exploration and really slowing down to enjoy the amazing world and the people we have in it. Baja Forge is about helping you embrace adventure. Baja Forged. Signature vehicle builds and off-road products built to forge your own path. Visit bajaforged.com today. Oh, so it's not recording.
That wasn't recording. Now we're recording.
Now we're recording.
For those of you who missed that audio, we can do
I
a
might,
recap.
pass out with this because I don't know what they
whatever's
put in it.
Could it be
See what happens.
hallucinogenics?
Wait, you got roofied? No, you didn't?
Darn it. It is that
We'll
kind
see
of
how
no.
long I last, and then you can jump back in just in case.
Well, everyone, I don't know. Is this a part in between?
Second part of the episode.
Okay, part 2 of the episode. It's not part 2. It's not part 2. It's
Part
still
two
part
of the same episode.
Okay, part 2 of the same episode. I'm Design Muse,
I'm still Fastlane Jane.
and we've got
Jason Mulligan.
we've got our other producer for Auto Revolution back here.
Yep, I'm trying not to be adjusting levels with my hands right now.
It's just like a
it's
habit.
Just, habit of doing that. Yep.
And he's like, Teresa's too loud. Okay.
No, I've given points. I've given notes to Marcel. He's now the DJ on the 1 and 2s back there.
Right.
We really need somebody behind the scenes of us so this can all be recorded.
So they're the ones that make it look cool. I mean, they
call that segment the shit show.
It's the after show.
The after. Well, there have been plenty of guys who've made that a thing, right? The late night show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
kind
us.
of the behind the scenes of
We're
the
going to be
behind the
the
scenes.
late.
Okay, so let's get started, Jason. Where did
right.
you get into the automotive industry, motorsports? Where did your love of cars come from?
I mean, for me, it hasn't been as much about the motorsports part, at least initially. I liked kind of the more creative aspect of it. I know we both went to the same college for graphic design, all that. I kind of liked whether it was music, art, stuff like that. So I kind of like the creative side of customizing cars. My dad was into cars. I think like most everybody, that's kind of how a lot of people got their start. He was into some weird cars though. Like it's kind of funny, even now to this day, like I kind of joke.
Now we're interested.
He has a lot of cars. None of them are like, they're not like what you would consider the cool car, but they are cool.
Okay.
So he's got 2 60s Thunderbirds. He's got a 74 Charger. He's got 2 Suburbans. But
Those
one,
are cool.
No, I said it's
But
not.
they're
the
not
cool-
like the 69 Camaro type thing.
It's
Yes,
it's not like the stereotypical car from that era.
Right.
But the weird one that he had was in the late 70s. He had a Bonneville, so like big
Boat.
4-door sedan, just
Yeah.
big old boat. And he needed a truck. So, you'd think.
I see where this is going.
No, this is 100%.
Is this where the creative part comes from?
Yeah. Well, he's an engineer,
Okay.
so there's a different kind of creativity, I guess.
Why do I not know about this?
I have pictures of it too, so
Okay.
you're seeing that.
Yep.
So, yeah, rather than sell it, go buy a car, or buy a truck, or trade it, something like that. He went to the wrecking yard and got an El Camino, took the bed out of the El Camino, cut the back of the Bonneville.
Technically, it's a unibody, is it not?
What
The El Camino.
Yeah. So he
So he
cut the
chopped
bed
it in
area.
half?
Yeah. He cut the bed area.
Yeah, it wasn't
of
like he
it.
picked the bed
No.
up. He sawzalled it or
yeah.
something. Is what you're saying.
I think
Okay.
what he did actually was take like the inner structure of it.
Okay.
So then kept the outer structure of the Bonneville. Like I said,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
have to pull up some pictures at least, but try to visualize
like
it right
the
now.
pan or whatever, the bed pan or what. Right?
So
Is
yeah,
that what,
like,
yeah.
so think,
okay.
take the trunk, toss it.
Okay.
Cut the rear window out, welded in, or I think the bed of the El
Or lots of
Camino.
Bondo,
Put it
I mean,
in.
who knows?
Put it in there. Yeah, I don't know. And then he actually took because obviously now needed a tailgate, and he also needed to close the back of the cab up on the Bonneville. So he got a station wagon, like the rear little swing door, and he took the roll-up part, put that behind the front seats, so he had a roll-up back window, and then used that tailgate on the bed portion, so it went folded down and swung out. But here's the best part. Obviously, he's recrafting everything on the back, so nothing's going to really work again. So he Frenched in 1970 Pinto taillights.
Oh, that's where you say all the okay.
So, like I said, some weird combinations.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
From
So
what
he doesn't share your design aesthetic, is basically what you're saying.
I'm not saying, like I said, he's an
Sorry,
engineer.
Dad. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, my dad's an engineer. Did
So he
a lot
knows
with-
numbers and he knows.
Yeah, so he's
that
very
from that.
technical on that
Yeah.
type of stuff. So maybe like that combined with some of the creativity stuff is,
Yeah.
kind of a good combination.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
So, I mean, I was into cars. He got me doing, like, he had a Firebird.
he was a
like,
full-on
no,
customizer
and that's what
right
I'm
here.
saying,
That's
like,
super
so
cool.
he had a Firebird,
Yeah.
but he had the Firebird that's probably cool now, not back like an
Right.
82,
Sure.
82 Firebird.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
not like a 67, 7 or something like
Yeah.
that. But no, he was always into it, wanted, he would get me model cars to build, that kind of stuff. But I wasn't like super into it, or I didn't
Yeah.
maybe see
Right.
my part of it until I was in junior high, and my cousin,
Well, it's pretty early.
no, and I was
Yeah.
probably seventh grade,
Yeah.
sixth, seventh grade, and my cousin, who, funny enough, was a friend of the aforementioned John Yotto, but he,
We can all hear it. little feedback here.
I don't hear it. Oh, wow. I don't hear that at all.
What? How do you not hear that?
Well, I don't know how to fix it.
oh, there we go.
It fixed. You couldn't hear that?
No, it shouldn't have been that.
Are we
yeah.
like dogs and
I
he's
think it was
not?
probably.
Well, you
it
can't-
might have been the air conditioning though.
No, when you got
No?
the headphones on, like all you hear is this, so you don't
Got
hear
it.
the background noise.
I got
Anyways, no, so technical difficulties when I'm not behind the camera. This is what happens. This is what happens.
You had your time, Marcel.
Yeah, this is
Someone
quite
is-
on the set
Jason,
now. I got the
stop.
Somebody in
microphone.
charge. Can you tell who's in
I got the
charge here?
No, but my cousin, as a graduation present for high school, he got a 96 Chevy truck, extended cab, the OBS, old body style. And that same year, like I remember seeing it, at the graduation, and then like over the summer we were hanging out doing stuff, and he had it body dropped. So Brian Gendro body dropped it. They shaved the rear bumper, the lights, put airbags, custom wheels on it, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, my dad had a 3/4 ton, like 92, 93 Chevy
Oh.
truck, long bed with a camper shell on it. So like to me, like that seeing, okay, I know these are the same truck, but this now looks 100% different. So that kind of like, like you can do stuff, make it your
Right.
own, customize it,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I, got a lot further into model cars, made little lowrider hopper cars, and and then eventually obviously got my 97 Chevy truck when I was in college because that was, same body style, and just kind of went from there.
Is that what kind of segued from college with that truck into publishing? And
yeah, that truck, having that like opened up a lot of doors and connections and networking. I had it just lowered a little bit at first, but I was like involved with a lot of the online forums at the time. And then we ended up starting, one of our own called Show Truck Scene. And that was probably 2004, 2005 maybe. That was right after like I got the truck bagged. So started meeting, those kind of people, eventually wanted Line X, so I met this guy, Tom McWeeny, who's, now I'm in the, same club. Then through him, met Marcel, we ended up doing the paint job at Marcel's shop, all the flames and all that stuff. And so just going to shows, going all that and, networking with everybody. I was doing obviously graphic design. I was in college at the time. I think too, for me, that was just the creative outlet. I liked having, having an idea and then seeing kind of how I can make it happen, bring it to life.
Yeah.
So
there it is again.
No, we know it's not, but it's just weird.
Feedback.
Yeah. It's probably some, anyways.
Something in here.
Keep going.
No, it just screeching. It just goes intermittently. It's
No. I think as long as it's
Marco.
not super loud, I think it's fine. But
so then and you noticed all of those things that you were excited about. You could start to bring all that together then.
Well, and that's start obviously kind of doing some photography at the car shows.
Yeah.
I was able to kind of put that into some of the assignments, I guess you could say, I had at school, with the graphic design. So it's kind of like, okay, how can I really like going to car shows. I like customizing, cars, obviously trucks most. How can I best combine these
and make a career out of it?
Well, no, and that's
pay the bills,
exactly,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
It always comes back to that.
Yeah.
No, buy more truck parts.
Yeah.
Rich, our friend.
You spend the money on it, so then you can go do other things with it and have the living to then make more money to spend.
It's a vicious cycle.
It still happens today for all of us.
Exactly. So
so then what was the next? So what'd you get into? What was the job that you chose?
Like through the car club I was in at the time, there's a guy that was sponsored by Autobahn for all the car stereo stuff, and they needed, basically temp, design person, because they had like 7 SEMA booths and 3 SEMA booths, 7 CES booths, catalog, posters.
Yeah.
Everything. So they were, summertime, they were, hiring some people. So I was right out of college, got the job at Autobahn, was doing design work there. And then, they wanted to hire me on, but there wasn't enough throughout the rest of the year. So I ended up, luckily, I was asking a friend of mine, Brian, he was the sales guy for Intro Wheels. And I was like, who does your catalog? Who does your wheels? Or who does the photography, all that kind of stuff. Because I was either thinking, hey, I could work for you, or he's this company called Icon Media. So I just emailed them saying, hey, I just did blah, blah, blah. Here's some sample. Wanted to see if there was anything, available. And the funny thing is, 2 weeks before that, a mutual friend of ours, Ross Berlanga, had just left Icon Media.
Oh, got it.
So
okay.
they're like, all right, come in, spend a week, see how you do, and then see if you hire on. And I think one thing that really helped me out too is the events manager for Truckin' Magazine, Lowrider, all that stuff with Prime Media was a friend of mine named Eddie Sabreco. And on I think the third day I was at Icon Media, Eddie walks in because one of the wheel companies was sponsoring an event and they were talking about stuff. And so, I think that kind of helped me also kind of get, he knows people, he's got connections and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that.
And then how from there, did you make the jump to editor and stuff how did that start to unfold? I had started, obviously had the website going, and that kind of actually started because me and the guy,
Chachi that started it. We were at the Forbidden show, and we had both of our trucks just got bagged. And there was another website. I'm friends with him now, so I won't mention it. But he, for some reason or another, probably just because there's 1,000 trucks there, he skipped taking he didn't take pictures of our trucks and put up online. So we're like, we do graphic design, we do websites, we do photography, we can start our own shit. So we started our own, website. So I was doing more stuff with that. But
what website was that at the time?
Showtruckscene.com.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So it was show coverage, some features, and then we had a forum. That was the big thing. But at that time, this is mid-2000s, magazines were kind of the pinnacle of anything
for sure,
truck or car world. So I kind of wanted to at least get into that. So I started freelancing for Tailgate Magazine, writing articles, going to shows. And what was cool then is, my boss was fine, let me take off on Friday because, hey, I'm going to do car-related stuff. I'm also networking.
God, this people. Friday thing, it's a thing with you.
Yeah, fuck off Friday. That's what we're doing tomorrow. We're working tomorrow.
Apparently that's a thing. Okay, I like it.
I'll be editing, not this, but the previous episode tomorrow.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
I know,
right?
When
now
someone else was paying
do we
the
need
bills.
to bring that back?
I think so.
I know. I feel like we do.
But I think with the hustle, you kind of just work every day.
It is,
just
but it's kind of like Marcel was. You
need a break though.
You do, and we do. I think we all still take breaks.
I was going to truck shows
Car
and
shows.
stuff.
Truck shows.
I was going to truck shows. There's minimal truck. It was always in the truck world.
Yeah. Obviously, if any of you are on here on Auto Revolution watching, it's all about OBS. I feel like
right now, that's kind of the bread and butter.
Freaking Chevy people, whatever.
I've always been a Chevy person, but
Hey,
I know.
where's that?
Point. This is my point.
Where's that ball?
If Marcel and Jason,
that's if you're in the truck world, for the most part, Chevy kind of owns that world. Off-roading, off-roading is a different story.
You're right. No, I do agree with that.
I have a Toyota 4Runner that's not Chevy, obviously.
Totally. And back in the day, the era that you're talking about, you said like
late 90s, 2000s, yeah, is when I got
100%. That's what you saw.
Yeah, everything was
all there
dropped.
Was. Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I saw was all the trucking magazines and all that back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, we're talking
seeing all
like
the ads and all that stuff.
80% probably was probably Chevys, I would say.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted my 97 and why I kind of went down that road. And obviously the next truck I had, the crew cab you painted, did all the graphics on that. That one's now at the bottom of some river or junkyard or something. It was
What?
It was. I had sold it.
I think we need to know more about that.
Forget the magazine stuff. You can Google that. You
we
can Google all of that.
I want to
The
hear
tailgate still.
And again, we'll have a photo right here for you of it at the bottom of the river.
No. Well,
Pre-bottom
pretty
of
much.
the river.
I mean,
Maybe?
almost.
Yeah.
Were there divers involved?
This isn't the Titanic. I couldn't get it out.
You were waiting to say the joke.
So I had it.
High five up there.
Too soon.
Wait, we'll wait. Just
Let
can
us
we insert some music here?
Jeopardy or the
She
technical
collects herself.
difficulty.
She collects herself.
Just throw number one down a bit.
He was almost crying. I know. He was weepy a little bit.
I'm weepy now.
I know. That was awesome.
That was good. If you know Jason, jokes, totally his thing all the time. That was good.
So I had it for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I think, and then sold it to some friends in Texas. They did.
And they sank it?
I'm a little lightheaded right now. KIK clothing.
Drink.
Yo!
Right here, girl.
All right. So it takes 20 minutes to kick in, I guess. And I'm drinking more of it.
And he's going in for more.
No, so they did KIK clothing and
What did they do?
KIK Customs Inc. clothing.
KIK.
Yeah.
Okay.
KIK.
KIK? What
Yeah,
is
KIK.
KIK.
I'm crying.
Customs Inc. clothing.
Oh, okay.
So they bought it and they drove it back to Texas. And they had it for a while. They used it to tow their trailer to shows, stuff like that. Then they ended up getting like a big toter home trailer that they could stay in. So they ended up selling it to, oddly enough, the guy who currently owns KIK Clothing. This guy Stuart in Louisiana, also does a Last Resort show. He bought it. He ended up having it bagged, put different wheels on it, 24-inch billet wheels on it. But then he was, I think, moving jobs or moving to Texas, something like that. So the original people that bought it, ended up storing it in their shop in the back of their property.
In a flood zone.
And then Hurricane Ike
Oh,
happens.
okay.
Yeah.
And so they even put the truck up on jack stands, tried to do whatever they could. The water went up to this high up.
I remember
the
you
window.
sending me photos of it. Yeah.
So it basically
completely
flooded and covered the
Yeah.
entire truck. And so eventually insurance, obviously totaled it out. I think he took the supercharger off, had it rebuilt, and then put it on a Tahoe.
Even after the water, huh?
Well, because the casing,
dry,
casing, you can
okay,
rebuild it,
okay.
new components inside. I'm guessing. It's now for a boat engine, I guess.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
So it works well. It works well with water.
Yeah, it's
I
great for a boat
this one.
engine.
Yeah,
Full
it works
evolution
well with
of
water.
We started with water.
We're
getting back to
we're trying
water
to tie
again.
it in. Yeah.
It all goes.
And then,
So
but
it might have gone in one of Marcel's friends' boats.
I know.
It's true.
Right.
but no, he kept the tailgate, and I think
Oh my God,
hanging
was
up on
that
his
good
wall.
for your dad?
No.
What?
The tailgate. Never
The
mind.
tailgate. Oh, for him to use it? Okay, I got it.
Does he want to repurpose it?
Yeah, use it on something else. No, so that's because that had, I think, the Street Trucks logo, your guys' logo.
Okay, I was just gonna say you skipped over. You went from Tailgate Magazine to
no,
then
that's-
your truck.
yeah, like-
so the evolution of Street Trucks.
So,
and,
2008, we all know what happened then. So I got laid off from Icon Media. Tailgate ceased to exist. I needed a job. I had already been, after Tailgate, went away, I had approached, Travis Nowak, who was the editor at the time, about freelancing because I already had stuff lined up or stuff shot. So I actually sent him an email and asked if they had.
Did you not know Travis before then?
No, I had met him. I'd met him
Okay.
at Marcel's shop.
Yeah, I was okay.
And like I said,
I feel like we all knew
No.
each other way before then.
and
too,
that's so I had already started basically like literally only a month prior started to freelance for Street Trucks.
Okay.
Because I had a couple trucks I'd already shot that obviously weren't going to go into Tailgate, and kind of basically okay now
Sure.
I can start this. So I said, is there either an art direction position or editorial? Because I could do both because being from the graphic design background. So had an interview, got hired on as a I think feature or associate editor there, and then just kind of ran with that for several years and became the editor of that magazine. Started a couple other magazines there, including like a car and kind of lifestyle one called Maximum Drive, C10 Builder's Guide, and then I don't know how much we want to go into that whole career, but I do know that was actually, I think the first week I started there was when I met you.
When you started where?
At Street Trucks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I know you were doing Travis's dually.
I think you and Travis came over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Working on his red dually.
Yeah. He needed a ride to pick up the dually. So
because we were
that's where
doing a feature for that as well.
Yeah.
In there.
Doing-
yeah.
graphics
We were
down
doing
the
the
side and stuff,
like a step by step.
Yeah,
Back in the
tech
day when there
article.
wasn't YouTube,
Yeah.
we did a tech article on how-tos
the how-to
for
video
graphics and stuff.
back then with the magazines was all right, here's 4 pages, here's 30 photos
Yep.
and some captions, and this is how you can do it. Yeah.
Totally.
So, but
Yeah.
then obviously,
Yep.
then we ended up doing my crew cab.
Yep.
There, and then now I've got my 4Runner that you guys did all the outfitting on. So.
Yep.
It's
I
been-
know, we hang
It's been
around.
fun.
Right?
Yeah.
We've known him a little while now.
Just a little bit.
Awesome.
Yep.
But yes, obviously you guys, both of you guys are just like kind of immersed in that culture, like you two. Like it, God, I guess it's like us.
No, it's
Right?
it's like all of us.
You
Yeah.
just
You're
love
not
it.
alone.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
I think there's always been ups and downs with having a job in this industry, you know, things come in waves,
And
but
you figure out how to figure it out.
yeah, how to make it work,
Yeah.
how to fit it in, you know,
the
and
hustle.
that's
Oh, yeah.
what it is. It's kind of like, okay, well, you know, if I, you know, seeing something to go in a direction, like, okay, I'm just going to do that versus maybe relying on something else. And, you know, that's why I ended up leaving the publishing world, if you will, and kind of starting autorevolution with Marcel.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That guy.
Right? That guy.
Yeah.
The other guy
He's
from
waving.
previous.
He's waving right now.
It can be unpredictable because I spent quite a few years writing for K&N after I started racing, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's piecemeal, definitely.
It's
fun. It's fun,
Yeah,
but
and so that's you kind of
think
have to
it's-
have a little multiple things going on,
Yeah.
or something like that, or just kind of
and then
plan ahead.
that's where teaching then came in.
Yeah.
You know, like,
It's-
wow, let's all do something
yeah.
in motorsports.
Yep.
And you still
Yeah.
do. You still like find a way to kind of stay involved in it somehow, but what is that? It evolves
Yeah.
into different things, different paths.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
I
then
mean-
the connections, like
Yes.
you were saying, seeing
and that's-
that
If
guy.
you're like car
Yeah.
people, you just get other car people.
It's there's
Like,
yeah
you
there's
do.
always the immediate connection, immediate bridge to talk about,
Yeah.
like an icebreaker, if you will.
Yep.
And that's what's funny is even some clients I've had that I do graphic design for that aren't automotive companies.
Yeah.
I've met them either through someone that worked there that I knew that was a car person, and then you find out maybe even the owner of that company is a car person too, just not as involved in the industry. So it kind of is an industry that connects everybody, and everyone seems to know everybody, even if they
I
don't know they do.
totally agree.
So
Woo! Lightning round. You have questions for us over there?
I have a question
saying,
for
yeah,
you.
we got a couple minutes left.
I have a question.
running out of time.
Person that you'd most like to, besides us, that you'd like to sit with, have dinner, have a meal, have a conversation, alive or dead? Go.
Go. Shit.
Oh, shoot.
We're not putting you on the spot.
I mean, I just probably what popped into my head would maybe not be the absolute choice, but it was what popped in my head would be Tom Segura, who's a comedian who's also a car person.
Yeah.
He's got race cars. He's got all that. But I think too a little bit is they have a podcast network. They've kind of grown a big media company.
Yep.
And he's obviously doing the comedy stuff. I've worked with stand-up comics as well. Filming
Yeah.
some specials, some of the HBO Entre Nos stuff.
Yeah.
Will you please invite me when you film Matt Rife?
Right?
All right. We got like what?
Shout
a
out to
minute,
Matt
so we're gonna
Rife.
do a Matt Rife story,
Okay.
and then we'll probably be at the end of it.
Okay.
So we went and saw I can't remember who the headlining comedian was, but Matt Rife was the opener basically, the host. He was the host. And yeah, we know the whole everybody wants that. So this was maybe 5 years ago or so. A woman whose birthday was that day paid Matt $50 for him to take his shirt off on stage of the Long Beach Laugh Factory.
She completely objectified
Yes.
him.
And he was okay with it.
Well,
So-
if you know his humor and everything he stands up
No,
and talks about, that's right up his alley.
Oh yeah.
Was
But
she
he got $50 out of
He
it.
always
so.
says he likes women who are 40 or something, right?
I
she
think
had
she
to have been like
was-
40 or something, right?
Yeah, I couldn't
So
see
is it
who,
this kind
who
of
it
show
was.
again?
I guess it's that kind of. We're
Definitely.
ending it with that kind of a
It
show.
all
or-
devolves into something seedy. Where we go from hustling to being hustlers. No, I'm kidding.
No.
That's definitely a different show.
That was probably just a very small part of who Jason
Yeah,
is
probably
and
Cliff
all the
Notes, I
different
guess, yeah.
cliff notes. I like that, and what we could get in, but
But how cool to maybe like every 10th episode we throw one of these guys in the hot seat.
Heck
And,
yeah.
yeah, I
Find
think
out
I
what's
really like
going
that
on.
because then
Little
we'll get a
10-episode
chance to
update.
know we'll have a chance to know what's going on
apparently
with
you
their
had a good
podcast.
idea or something like that.
Apparently, I don't have them often. I guess.
And we need to talk about your
Marcel,
good
tell us what
idea.
you really think of Jason.
It all starts with a Del Taco shirt. We'll save that for another episode.
She almost spit on me.
Okay.
We're out of
know.
time.
Okay.
Okay.
How much do we have actually?
Okay.
All right. So yeah, influence and impact. We filmed about 8 or 9 episodes, and basically, tracing the history of the automotive world, but we're focusing on kind of the custom aftermarket of it. So rather than, obviously we're touching on, Ford, Chevy, whoever did this with a C10 or, a Corvette or something like that. But what did all of us do with it?
Yeah.
What did all of the aftermarket people
And you
do
can
with
find
it?
that on Autorevolution.
Yep. It'll be coming out pretty soon, probably around the time this comes out.
That's awesome.
Go
So
check
you
it out.
guys-
The first one is all about C10s.
Fantastic.
Who knew?
And
Who would have
that's-
thought?
Yeah. Big surprise. But
And that's a wrap. My God.
Bye for now.
Do we even have time to say us? Oh, 30
Yeesh.
seconds came in. I'm Design Muse.
I'm Fastlane Jane.
I'm Jason Mulligan.
And this is High Octane Hustle.
Boom.